Alright, so for the topic of this video, we're going to talk about a very, very important thing. It has to do with time and stuff. Time is something that, you know, humans have learned to quantify thousands of years ago and stuff, and which led to, I mean, it wasn't, and it's not like a tangible thing. It's not like, creating the wheel and stuff or fire, right? And that it gives a tangible result and stuff, but it solved a problem and stuff. Understanding that things have a duration and stuff related to distance divided over time and stuff. Time is a denominator here. Helped us um, helped us get ideas that modify behaviors and addresses of not just ourselves, but the material and personnel that we work with. So, so that dramatically changes things. It dramatically improves things. Uh, and by I would even go as far as to say any criteria you would set for what's called an improvement. Okay, so um, that's why it's very important to talk about time and stuff. And there's significant amount of science investment of scientific time and energy into the topic of time, from the areas of temporal physics, theoretical physics, and engineering, and things related to industry like industrial engineering and business and finance and stuff. Um, Even some aspects of different perspectives on religions and even politics touch upon it and stuff. Is definitely very central as well in the topic of strategy and stuff and tactics and stuff. So yeah, it's very. So we're going to talk about some. In light of that, we're going to talk about the very important topic of time management and stuff. Now, there's many ways to manage time, and I mean, does one way work all the time and stuff? I mean, that's presuming quite a bit. So we'll talk about one quick way that works, and just with an example. You just need something to write with. See, here I have this word processing program open, but and I guess you could write things down too, but you can't really move things around very well when you include something new. So typing tends to be better, and uh, there's many different things a person can use to type. Um, Smartphones are pretty convenient sometimes too. But so here we go. Let's say, for example, um, person A needs to do X by. Actually, no. Let's not use A and X. Person. Let's. Kipper needs to do. Needs to finish the important work project by uh, you know some some date, right? And you know so for so we think for that to happen, you know certain event needs to happen, and for that has to happen, something else needs to happen, something. And then let's say now you have to ask yourself, like, what will I need, who will I need and stuff. um, and then you work things together. Eventually, like, you jump into this idea and you add more, and then let's say this takes 1 week, right? And then something else needs to happen. It's 20 minutes, right? And then you try to account for the details of what will happen, working up until the present and stuff, where you are right now writing it and stuff. And then so now you have to think about what you can realistically do. And not what the what the system does is it tells you exactly how long things are supposed to take, so you can understand how much time to give for delays and stuff, um, and maybe possibly how to make things happen earlier and stuff, and get things done earlier. Um, so so this becomes a way of avoiding doing things late or being late for things, which is a good way to manage time. And if we need a better example, which we probably do, let's say Kipper needs to be at a movie premiere by no movie premiere. I mean, this is needs to be at let's think of something important, at a work meeting on December 15th. Say it's put it in. Let's just put it this year, 2026, right? 9th, 2026. So he needs transportation. Can't. Something like this, and then this is tougher to do when you don't have like a specific place. So I'm getting stuck for just a second here. So X needs to happen. G needs to happen for X to happen. J needs to happen for for G to happen. Materials needed. What can't you do? It's very important to understand what cannot happen, what might happen, this type of thing. You try, you really give it your best effort to minimize something like, I don't know, a car accident on the road causing a potentially up to a 45-minute delay. In some areas, it'll cause like a 3-hour delay, a 5-hour delay and stuff. But you do things effectively. And, this becomes worth the time, because now you don't have to deal with all of the headache and everything that's happened around, this going wrong and stuff. Whatever it is. And yeah, this is basically one way of doing it. Now, just as a warning, you don't want to book yourself up completely and stuff. You want to always have some free time to do, well, whatever. You generally, you don't want to be the person who's obligated 24/7 around the clock and stuff. Eventually, you blow a gasket. You could sprain something. You can get heart disease and stuff. There's so many different things that can happen to a person. So I heavily advise against overbooking yourself. There needs to be other people to help with these work aspects and stuff. And this has some extendability into your personal life as well and stuff. Now, from what I know, most people tend to cancel at the last minute and stuff, and yeah, you're going to need backup plans. And you're going to have to, I guess, do this for your backup plans as well. Um, but if you say you're going to do something, you should do it. And if you make an agreement to do something with somebody, you should keep it. Um, Preferably earlier than later and stuff. You don't want you really don't want things to run on late. Um, but you also don't want to interrupt what's going on because you want to do something early. So yeah. So when you have appointments and things like that, you're gonna have to take some time to think to make it happen and stuff. Because like I've discussed in other areas of the channel and stuff, if you're always forcing the issue and stuff, you're probably not you're not giving yourself time and energy to think and space to think. So with some activities, it's harder to think after. And yeah, I mean, that's basically that's one way to do time. That's one effective way to do time management. It works, and it works consistently. Now, as for the automated time management systems, like smartphone apps and stuff like that, they can't be relied on all the time. And honestly, they will mess you up and screw you over and do and possibly do some real damage to your life. I think we've all read and heard the stories of people who've lost their job and stuff because of disruptive technologies. And it's a sad, unfortunate fact of our reality that this type of thing happens. Um, these smartphone apps have sometimes led to car accidents too, which have yeah, which have really caused problems for people. So just know that. And I mean, I've been going on about this for about 13 minutes, and so I'm going to cut it short here.